Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Howdy, Red O'Loughlin here. We're on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. And I want to wish you a happy New Year's. And our topic today fits into that category very, very nicely. Let's go ahead and start loading the slides up and we'll get ready to go here very quickly. There we go. Fix the system, not the goal. Well, if we're doing a New Year's resolution, and some people say don't do them. In fact, I was looking to Gary V on Instagram or one of the social media channels this morning, and he was just absolutely adamant, don't do it. Don't even talk to him about a list. Some people operate to a list. I prefer a list because I find as I'm getting older, things slip right out of my mind. I had a program I wanted to absolutely mandatorily make last night. I got involved with something else. Didn't happen. So to me, I use a list, and I think a lot of people don't. And I think that's Gary V's value check, his analysis of the fact that, yeah, you write it down, but you don't use it. So I don't think he's really that much against it. He's against people who write it and don't use it, regardless. But fix the system, not the goal. We're talking about New Year's resolutions. Our shows are live streamed. This is not a podcast, although we will show up down the road on some audio programs on podcast, but it's after the fact. But we're live streaming to a number of places: Amazon Fire, E360 TV, YouTube, many channels. I have my social media simulcast on my Facebook personal page, my business page, Android TV, and more. And as always, all my shows are for awareness and education. I can be found at redolaughlin.com. That's Red, R-E-D, O'Loughlin, O-L-A-U-G-H-L-I-N, redolaughlin.com. Guess I need to update that slide. I have 7 books, not 6 that are there, so I have to make that happen. So redolaughlin.com, you can find all my contact information there. I prefer email or phone call. That's my preference. All of these programs that you're watching today, you can watch live on YouTube on 2 different channels, Global TV, USA Global TV and Radio, or Dr. Jacqueline and Kerbeck. The archive ones are there also. I really and truly am focused from a research perspective on the root cause of a problem. If you're treating symptoms, that's fine. It may make you feel better, look better, but it doesn't fix the problem. So I look at chemically, biologically, what's going on at the cellular level in the body. And I try my best to translate that into English and a language that people can actually take to their doctors or be able to incorporate and make decisions that people can act on. I look at both ends of the spectrum. What helps you and what makes things worse. If you watched my show last week and we're talking about lifestyle choices, these lifestyle choices will improve your age, will improve your health. But if you don't make them properly, these are not the worst case scenarios, but certainly down the road to worst case scenarios. So I look at both ends of the spectrum. And I like to consider myself nowadays a decision support manual writer for aging humans. Other than that, some background on me. I'm a researcher, never been in the medical or pharmaceutical fields. Chemistry, my first degree, fell in love with it. Got a total of 5 academic degrees, a bunch of professional certifications. And during my civilian life, I worked primarily in quality engineering, reliability engineering, and logistics engineering. Retired Navy captain, flew for 16 years, 31 total years, been to a bunch of countries, got invitation to Bosnia and Vietnam while I was in the military. Why is cause and effect relationships important? Because you're treating the cause and you may actually fix the problem. But if you don't treat the cause and the symptoms are there, you're treating them, the cause could get worse. That's something that's really a risk. Been married 57 years, couple kids, 3 grandkids, and we had our great grandson over last weekend. He'll be 2 here in about 2 weeks. Best-selling author of 7 books, independent publisher, about 50 books for other authors. Distinguished Toastmaster, writer. I've written over 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn. I probably just need to say I'm number 3 host this year on the USA Global TV and Radio Network, and update that slide. I'll do that. Okay, I have a couple of books that I wrote. No Matter What You Can Do It is based on Dr. Maxwell Maltz's psychocybernetics. Talks about the subconscious mind. How do we really talk to ourselves in order to make things happen? But I also wrote a book on failures, and I incorporated some advanced aspects in there that aren't typically found in other failure books. One of my responsibilities as a reliability engineer was failure modes and effects analysis. How can something fail? And we would get together, maybe 20 of us, engineers, different disciplines, and we'd put the blueprints on the table. Okay, if this thing failed, what happens? If this thing failed, what can we do to, okay, if it fails, is it going to fail open or closed? Is it going to hurt? I mean, we would go into it, and it's been 2 days, and how can you improve the reliability of something? So failure is something that I really and truly look into. I spent a lot of time on what's called taproot analysis, where you look at, it failed. Okay, why did it fail? Okay, well, why did that fail? Okay, why did that? So you go down to about 7 levels of why. So it's one of those things I feel very comfortable in working with and in talking about. So fix the system, not the goal. The goal is, oh, it's my goal, lose 20 pounds this year. That's the goal. But the system is your subconscious mind, because it's in control. So Happy New Year. We're already in 1 week into it. And at least in my end of the world right now, I think I'm a little bit ahead of my expectations. I hope I am. And expectations are really what causes your subconscious mind to work. Wants and needs are a conscious thought, don't really count in the real world. Even though they're the real world, it's not something that drives what you're doing. So if you look at your subconscious mind and your conscious mind, there's 2 entirely different activities going on. Dr. Maxwell Maltz wrote a book called Psychocybernetics back in 1960. He was a cosmetic surgeon and concerned about why people who had a terrible scar or a burn or something, and as a cosmetic surgeon, they were pristine. They came out of the surgery absolutely beautiful, but they still saw, every time they, in the mirror, they saw the scar that wasn't there. And it really bothered him. So he wrote a book about it. And that's how this whole thing got started for me. It's the very first book I ever read on self-improvement. And I had to write I talked about it for a while. I wrote a book on it. But our conscious brain, our mind, as we talk about it, deals with our decisions we make, our willpower, our logic. It lives in the awareness mode. But it's only about 5% of what we actually do. Our subconscious mind deals with our habits, our beliefs, our emotions, our memories. But there's just some uniqueness about the subconscious mind that limits it. Say, I want to do this. Well, want is a word that deals with the conscious mind. I will do this. That deals with the future. The subconscious mind is only present tense. It can research the archives of history, but it has no concept of future. So when you're talking to your subconscious mind, affirmations or whatever else, it has to be present tense. It has to be personal. It has to be positive. It doesn't have any concepts of, I'm not going to have another piece of pie. The word not doesn't connect. It doesn't understand. So it hears, I'm going to have another piece of pie, and that's what you do. So, but your subconscious mind is archived 24/7, and the really emotional parts are right there in the front. And it'll help you or it'll hinder you. It's just, it works both ways. Its prime directive is do not allow any harm, any embarrassment to come to you. So we think about that. You touch a hot stove, you don't touch it again. But if I fail at something, okay, that's just a learning lesson. But if I fail at it again and fail at it again, let's say my New Year's resolution is lose 20 pounds, and it's been the same New Year's resolution for 10 years. After a while, you have this failure and that one and that one and that, they stack up and they're right there. And so you say, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, the subconscious mind doesn't want to embarrass you with another failure. So even though completing that goal of losing 20 pounds is really beneficial and healthy, your subconscious mind is going to sabotage you because you failed so many times it doesn't want you to embarrass yourself again. So once you have a history of failure, then you have to look at, how can I prevent this? Well, one of the best things about the subconscious mind, it has no concept of the difference between real and imagined. It can really happen and you actually failed to lose weight, or you can imagine that you actually lost weight. And so now I have a stack of failures. And every time I put in an imaginary one, I start cutting that down. So now the number of real and imaginary are the same. And I can actually start putting the real down below the imagined. And now it looks at it and says, okay, well, you've done that before. No real problem. I'll help you. So Vince Vicente, a great public speaker, he get a chance to look at him on YouTube, look at his books. He wrote a book called The Ant and the Elephant. He equates an ant on an elephant's back to your conscious brain. Your subconscious mind is the elephant. The ant could be going west, the elephant could be going east, and both of them think they're doing the right thing. But the ant can't talk to the elephant. It doesn't speak elephant language, so it can't tell the elephant to turn around. But there are things that can be done. But literally, the amount of neurons in the brain that control your subconscious mind is literally the size of an elephant compared to the ant of your conscious brain. Really amazing difference in size. And yes, the subconscious mind controls your breathing and blood pressure and other things too. So if you can imagine victories, you can cancel out a lot of real failures. That's probably one. If you don't remember anything else, that's probably one thing I'd say. Start looking at imagining success, because that really helps you. So 90% of the people, by several studies, fail their resolutions by February. 30 days, they're gone. But they never ever, they're not even aware that subconscious mind is causing them to be sabotaged. They're penalized by prior failures. In other words, it's in here, it's right up here at the front, and I try to do something. I don't want you to be embarrassed again, so you're not going to fail. And so it's there, and your subconscious mind compares past to present. It archives the past and only compares it, but it lives in the present tense. So, but your daily habits, everything you make your choice. And we talk about lifestyle choices, your sleeping, your stress management, your exercise, your eating and stuff. Those are all daily habits. They're part of your subconscious mind. You try to say, okay, I want to be more healthy. I'm going to start eating more salads. Well, a week later, you're not eating more salads. It's not the conscious mind. The conscious mind wants to do it, but the subconscious mind is really and truly in control. And there are ways of changing things. So why do resolutions fail? Well, most of them are unrealistic. I want to lose 50 pounds. Have you ever lost 50 pounds in your life? Never. Why do you think you're going to do it now? They're vague. I'm setting a goal, but I'm not looking at the behavior that makes that goal viable. Sometimes it's all or nothing. I want this, but if I don't get it, we classify things wrongly. We don't plan for things properly. We don't have a system to support ourselves. We're operating without accountability. We're taking too much time. We have setbacks, but we're underestimated. We don't understand, why did I fail? Okay, if I understood why I failed, maybe I could prevent that from happening again. And then we ignore the existing habits we have. If I got a sweet tooth and I'm trying to lose weight, that's a habit I have now. I need to do something so that I'm not ignoring the fact that I love cake and pie and cookies and ice cream. I have that existing habit. I need to be able to control it. So sometimes we have externally versus internally set goals. I want to lose it for better health. But sometimes people say, you ought to lose 20 pounds. You're a little too much there. And sometimes these external goals are put on us, but we have no ownership of it. You say, yeah, I'll try that. But it doesn't work. The external goals are not something that we believe in. And if it's not our belief, it's not going to happen. It's just simple as that. It's like for me, if I don't put it on a list, it definitely won't happen. If it gets on a list, it may not happen, but the chances are much higher that because that list has that line item, it will happen. Distracted by her older sister. I love the Lovin' Spoonfuls back in the 60s. They had a song, did you ever put out? Yeah, I'll think of it in a second. But one of the lines in there was distracted by her older sister. And so when I look at the distractions I have in life, this is something I've been doing for years. And I'll tell my wife, oh, I got distracted by her older sister. Well, that was a line, and don't you ever have to make up your mind. Pick up on one, leave the others behind. Anyway, from a copyright perspective, really can't get into lyrics of other songs, but I can concentrate on a specific lyric and use it as an example. That's within the copyright world. So I use the term got distracted by her older sister because life gets in the way, things happen. And that distraction, if I recognize it as a distraction, maybe next time I can avoid that distraction, which is really key. What distracted us? What was a trigger? What was a cue that set us off in a different channel? That all of a sudden we're no longer focused on what we need to be doing. So when life gets in the way, we end up with fatigue, and as a result, it affects our conscious thinking. I walk by a restaurant and it smells super, and all of a sudden I'm almost drooling. I need to go in there and have something. When I'm fasting, that part of my brain shut off. I can go by almost any place that you can smell the food from 2 miles away, have no effect. But when I'm not fasting, I can drive by that same place. That really smells good. So there's some things that we can do, but we have to be aware of what they are. So your subconscious mind has the emotions in there. And if you want to really and truly set something in your subconscious mind, the more emotion you can attach to it. When you listen to Vince Poscente speak or you read his books, he talks about his Olympic career and the failures he had early on and what he did to overcome those. He had these dots he put all over the place. And every time he saw a dot, he would think he's standing on the stage with the gold medal and people clapping and the American flag. He's Canadian flag is waving and the music's there. He would put himself emotionally into the event of the success of that event. So there's lots of things we can do to get into the emotional aspect of our successful goal, but we don't do them because we don't know about them. We look at outcomes, losing 20 pounds versus the behavior. And the behavior is what our subconscious mind controls. It doesn't control the outcome. Our conscious mind wants the outcome, but it has no control over it. So if we're looking at our behaviors, I really need to be concentrating on my subconscious mind. Again, lose 20 pounds. That's an objective. That's an outcome. Exercise more is an outcome. It's kind of vague. What does more mean? Eat healthier. Again, vague. There are things there. I have to be very specific in what I want. Exercise more. 1 day a week walking 2 miles. That's specific. Eating salad 3 days a week. That's specific. So the specificity has to be there. Our brains don't execute outcomes, losing 20 pounds. Our brain executes repeated behaviors, habits. So every habit has a cue, a routine, and a reward. So when we have our old habits, they're ingrained, they're set, they're easy to follow. But when I try to do a new habit, I have no neurological connection. It's up there, subconscious mind. I've never done that before. And I can't overwrite as a code in a software program. I can't overwrite that because it doesn't exist. But on some of the other ones that I have that are old, ingrained, and set, I can overwrite some of those with imagined success. So there's a lot of little cues in there that we have control over, but we don't know we do. Motivation becomes focus. That's our conscious mind. So I'm motivated. I'm focused on this. I want to do this. But that motivation, that focus is willy-nilly. It can fluctuate. You get a little bit of stress, it disappears. You're tired, you're hungry, you're emotional. The trigger of that particular one gets in the way. And so we have a problem. I want to do it. I'm motivated to do it. I realize it needs to happen, but I'm not talking to the right person in charge. So my subconscious mind knows who I am. And that's part of the problem. Your belief system, your habits. So if that goal you have doesn't connect, now we have a problem. So our conscious mind thinks we can make the changes easily. Yeah, why can't I give up sweets? But the underlying question is this who I am? That's a really key issue in being able to achieve something. Because if I want to exercise more and I'm not a gym person, it doesn't even enter my vocabulary, it's not going to happen. If I'm not good with money, being able to save money for a vacation, not going to happen. If these things run in my family because of, because my brother's good at this or my dad was good at that, just because they are doesn't necessarily mean externally that you're going to be. So we end up with a lot of situations that's easy to fail based on the assumptions that we're making. We think we're in control, but we're not in control. However, we're not addressing the root cause of the failure for doing that. Again, if I have a history of failure, I can just as easily have a history of success, but that takes time. We don't want to do that. It's too hard. Uh, Weight gain is not a problem. Poor sleep is not the problem. Lack of exercise is not the problem. These are all outputs, usually of stress, more so than anything else. I think almost everything we have has some focus, at least from a failure mechanism in our body, our health systems, from our stress. Our beliefs, we don't know what we don't know. So a lot of times a belief's not really a big deal. But if you absolutely believe not eating meat is the best thing in the world, that's your belief system. If the environment you're in, if I'm working in a cafeteria, if I'm working in a pastry shop, if I'm working in a bread place. I used to live across the street. Just as I was first getting married, we lived across the street from a buttercrust bakery. And when the wind was blowing the right direction, we didn't really have air conditioning. We had the windows open. The buttercrust bakery is almost, you're sitting there drooling because that bread just smelled so good, almost unbelievably good. So sometimes we look at the environment we're in. So if I have a stress issue, I should be able to handle it with stress management. If it's a belief issue, maybe I need better education, certainly awareness. Environmental things, maybe I just live in a very toxic environment at home, at work, going through traffic, going to work. A lot of social norms out there. One of the big social norms now is I pick this thing up and I'm like this almost 24/7 because this is driving what's going on. You sit there at dinner, 4 people at a table, all of them have this up to their face. That's becoming a social norm. Emotional regulation patterns. In other words, our emotions, how are they regulated? Are we looking at the same thing? I spent a lot of time walking the Camino de Santiago about 10 years ago. And my big thing then was let it go. That was my let it go tour. No matter what happens, let it go. Okay. So if you can start changing your mindset, things do change in your life. So let's start with your identity. I'm sure most of you probably have talked to ChatGPT. But if you're using it as an answering machine, okay, what is this? What year did Christopher Columbus discover America? 1492. It's an answer machine, but that's not what you want out of ChatGPT. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. So if I want to lose weight, is that who I am? Or do I want a healthy weight, which is really what I want, but it's something that I haven't failed at before. So I lose weight, I may have failed a dozen times, but if I want to achieve a healthy weight, that puts a little bit of complexity into the subconscious mind because it doesn't have something to compare it to. So automatically, if you change losing inches, which you may not have ever had before, to losing weight, which you failed at, there are certain ways you can juxtapose what you want, changing the words, reframing it so that you get what you want as an end result, but your behaviors are probably more adaptable to doing that. I want to eat better. Well, maybe I just want to protect my health better. I'm getting old enough now that it becomes a major issue is what am I eating? Because there's a lot of things in there that can harm me. So I want to remove the cues that trigger bad habits. If I'm driving down the street and I smell this wonderful barbecue place or Chinese food or burgers, chicken, whatever, that's a trigger. That's going to, oh my goodness, maybe I might stop at Popeyes on the way back. That sounds like a good plan. So I want to remove the cues. Okay, I know I'm driving by Popeyes. I would love to have one today, but that's not part of my schedule today. I have other things that are more important. So I'm I'm rationalizing, yes, but I'm also trying to remove that cue or the trigger that's going to possibly get me in trouble. So emotional stress. I think our emotions, our stress are the things that are really the leading causes of why we are failing. So if I look at, let's assume for a minute that emotional stress is 90% of the problem. Well, why don't we manage it better? Go on YouTube, look at stress management. Go on YouTube, look at what are the things that there's just so much education available there that I'm flabbergasted. In fact, I'm finding literally more information available on Instagram than I've ever seen in my life in the last 6 months. And maybe it's just a mere fact that I'm starting to select different things, but we have the ability to manage stress. We have the ability to manage our emotions. If we can get that, let's say even 50% control, then that 90% failure rate becomes a 50% failure rate because we're not allowing the root cause to take over and fail for us. Anxiety, loneliness, boredom, sadness, overwhelmed by triggers. These are the triggers that set us going down a path we don't want to go. So if I'm a little anxious for this thing, things just haven't been working out, lots of things are triggers. So let's analyze, why did you fail? Well, I was bored. I was overwhelmed. What are the triggers so that you can at least have beginning of a failure analysis as to why all of a sudden I had a second piece of pie. I shouldn't even have the first one, but I had the second. Why? Comfort food. There's so many reasons. But start analyzing, why did you fail? Even if it's just that one meal, one snack, one drink, whatever it is. If you're giving up alcohol, why did you have 3 beers? Okay. Well, could you have stopped at 2? Well, maybe I could have. But why did you have the first one? Well, I was bored. I was lonely, whatever. So look at the triggers. Sometimes the location. If you're on the couch and you're watching TV, there's no reason to exercise. If you're in a coffee shop and you smell everything, food smells great, pastry shop, they look amazing. I mean, I was in France and the pastries looked and tasted great. Not as good as the German pastries. The German pastries absolutely looked outstanding, but they had no taste to them. No, they look good, but they were very disappointing. But I go across over to France. It doesn't matter what it is; it's good. Of course, they believe in sugar and butter and everything else. Sometimes a time is a trigger. 5 p.m. time to head to the bar. It's lunch time. Let's go out and get something to eat. There are many triggers out there. So, is it the time of the day? Is it the location? Other people can be triggers. You're with a group of people, let's stop by and have some Mexican food on the way home. Okay, let's stop by and do that. We get caught up into the habits that we have with people. So people, time, location, emotional condition, all of those things. And sometimes it's even something as simple as, okay, I ate a meal, I finished the meal. Now my brain says time for dessert. Well, maybe it's not time for dessert. Maybe the meal is sufficient. Wait 20 minutes and see if you still need dessert. Because all of a sudden, when you really process everything, I'm processing things ahead of time because of the preceding action that happened. So that's one of those things that you can do. I've changed over years ago, literally many years ago, to having a salad plate for my primary plate. Because when I have a big plate, I fill it up. When I have a small plate, I fill it up. So portion control, it's super easy to do. Don't go back for seconds. How many rabbit holes have you gone down today, and how much time have you wasted? I mean, this thing here, let me get that in front of my face. That is a major rabbit hole introductory system. It's too many things can happen. Oh, they look so good. I didn't know that. Oh, and sometimes they're so negative they just get you worked up. Now you get some more emotions involved in that. So we end up becoming addicted to devices. I know my addiction as a kid and still today to some degree was TV. TV was on, I'd sit down and watch it. I've had TV since the early 50s in my house. I know I'm addicted to TV. I have to work around it. If my favorite show's on there, I got to get up and walk away from it because I know that my rabbit hole is that TV and it'll capture me. It'll reach out, grab a hold of me, and won't let go. So what are you addicted to? Are you addicted to Cokes? Are you addicted to sweets? Are you addicted to whatever that may happen to be? And it could be a device. It doesn't have to be a food. Are you addicted to exercise? Are you spending 3 hours at the gym? uh, whatever it may happen to be. Is that realistic in what you have and what you want? Is that who you are? So when you know your cues, your triggers, begin incrementally to change something. You're not going to change a whole 20 pounds overnight. No, it's not going to happen. But you can set a goal at 5 pounds, and maybe that's realistic. So make small conscious decisions. Okay, if you're not drinking water a day, and a lot of people don't, put a half a glass in front of you. A full glass may be intimidating. Put a half a glass and finish that off in a half hour. Little things work. Climbing a couple extra floors instead of taking the elevator. Parking further out in the parking lot, walking in. Your subconscious mind big time resist major changes. I want to do something. It's a major change in my life. Subconscious mind is going to say, you might get hurt with that. But we still make mistakes with big things in life. Buying a house, buying a car, getting married. Sometimes things overwhelm us and we don't realize the subconscious mind is saying, hey, wait. And we do it anyway. So sometimes that conscious mind does win. So ask yourself, what is the real end result that you seek and why? How many ways are there to achieve it? Okay, I can lose 20 pounds. Well, how can you do that? Well, I can stop eating. I can exercise all day long. I can choose better foods. There's probably 10 or 20 different ways you can lose 20 pounds. What is the time frame? Well, I'll lose it this month. Nope, not going to happen. If I lose it in 6 months, okay, that's 6 into 20. Okay, that's 3 pounds. I can do 3 pounds in a month. That's not quite a pound a week. That's realistic. Have I failed before? Yes. Well, maybe I need to start cultivating some of those imagined successes on weight loss. So weight doesn't necessarily leave evenly over time. I can lose. In Germany, I'm on an Atkins diet. I go down to Italy, spend a weekend. I gain 12 pounds. Pasta and bread and whatever. I come back 2 weeks later. I'm back at my weight because that water weight loss from the carbs was what controlled everything that was going on in my life. So I know that my first 10, 12 pounds is water weight. Everything after that is actually going to be losing fat, losing inches. So it's understanding how does weight actually leave our body. So why are those things important to you? 20 pounds, look good, clothes fit better, etc. But if I'm looking at my old failures, I had the same reasons. I want to look good, my clothes fit better. Let's change the dynamic. I can still get into better looking clothes and look good if I lose inches instead of pounds. So portion control, intermittent fasting, lots of ways of getting to that goal. Awareness of the situation. Sometimes I really feel like I'm hungry. I generally don't eat during the day until at least 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I get through the night, the morning, noontime, and 2, 3 o'clock, fix something to eat. Am I hungry? Those hunger pains I feel in my stomach, or am I dehydrated? Eastern and Western cultures for breakfast are totally different. Eastern medicine says, I don't care whether you have breakfast or not that important. Lunch is the most important meal of the day. Western culture says breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But who's saying that? The cereal manufacturers. Of course, they have a vested interest in that. People don't fail because they're lazy. They don't fail for lack of discipline. They fail because they try to fix the goal, the 20 pounds, not the behavior, the system, the subconscious mind that controls how you get there. So the system, your subconscious mind, runs your systems. So the human behavior is super complex. It's just not, I can fix this by just moving that one little thing. Nope, it doesn't work that way. So like you get a disease, well, get cancer. What caused it? They don't know. But it could be 10 different things and you fix 2 of them, you're still going to get cancer. There's just some things you have to look at the entire possibility. I have biological factors, my genes and other things in there. Psychological factors, and that's my daily stress. My social learning, how well do I learn? Am I a continual learner? Did I give up after I left high school? Environmental factors, where do I work? Just lots and lots and lots of things. What are my values? My subconscious mind, my values. What are my needs? Well, that's my conscious mind. I think they're my needs. I want a bigger house. I want a better car. I want this. But sometimes we get confused between our subconscious understanding of who we are and our conscious understanding of what we think we want. I suggest people, if they want to fix the system and not the goal, go to YouTube. It's a good place to start. I also recommend highly ChatGPT is a good place to schedule learning. not as using the chat, the AI as an answering machine, but use it as a coach. You really, I mean, I have a 2-page prompt that I use for my research into the human body when I want to know, well, what does uric acid do in this particular part of the body? I can go in there and I can look at that. Okay, fine. What about this? I start going back and forth. So think of your AI as your systems coach, and you're thinking and kibitzing with that coach back and forth. You need to know who it is, who you are, what you want it to do explicitly. It's just not a simple what is. The prompts are super critical. And sometimes you can finally get to the answer you want after a number of different questions. And you tell AI says, okay, here's the answer I wanted. What was a prompt I should have used initially to get here? So now you've already gone through and wasted all the time. You've learned something. Take advantage of the final result in order to get you something. You can get answers from YouTube, a lot of places to get answers from, but coaching is a two-way street. Who are you and why is it important to you? What are your expectations? No, now you're talking to your subconscious mind. Assistance approach, if you don't know what that is, go to YouTube. And like everything else in life, particularly as you get older, we're getting smarter because we have wisdom, but we're not necessarily applying some of that wisdom the way we should. I was involved with taproot analysis, working for Halliburton on failures in the field. And why did something happen? I go down 7 levels. Find the root cause, fix the root cause, don't address the symptoms. Success counts, losing 5 pounds, celebrate. Get that emotional high there in the head. Okay, boom, that works. Japanese proverb, fall down 7 times, get up 8. No, it's just because you fail doesn't mean you're going to fail again and again and again and again. Likely, but get up and keep going. Resilience, perseverance, those are the things. Never give up. Your subconscious mind controls your world. Learn about it, talk to it, use it. Lots of things you can do here. Go YouTube, great place to go. Failures happen, get over it, let it go. If it's not important, it won't happen. You have to have, if losing weight is not that you think it's important, but if it's really not important deep down in your belief system, it won't happen. So you got to make sure you have a good belief system. Stay the course, even when you're on the shoulder of the road and you're going back and forth and the rocks are flying up and things just don't seem right. Stay the course, because you have to have that belief system that I'm doing this for a reason. It's going to happen. Maybe it's going to take 8 months, not 6 months. But if you start seeing little successes along the way, those are the things you celebrate, because that attaches emotion. That emotion goes into the subconscious mind. It's filed there. And now as you start doing additional things, the subconscious mind, okay, that was a success. I can work with that again. I can make that happen again. So those are the things that you need to be doing in order to talk to your subconscious mind. I showed 2 books at the very beginning of my show. No matter what you can do it, that really addresses the subconscious mind. Or you can buy Dr. Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics. And then I have my failure modes, my failure book. That is, again, it tells you how you can go in and look at failures and how you can fix them. So that might be of some value to some people. Getting toward the end of the show here. Again, Happy New Year to those people. If you have New Year's goals, I applaud you. I wish you the best in getting. I hope today's talk gives you some level of, yeah, I think I can do this. Never thought about that before. Maybe that's of value. So look at what you can do it incrementally, celebrate the successes along the way. And those are the things that will start happening down the road, because they're new habits. They start becoming ingrained in the brain over and over and over again. And now all of a sudden, yeah, it's easy to do. Whereas for the last 20 years, I couldn't do that. Anyway, I'm going to leave you all there. I wish you the absolute best. I have no idea what I'm talking about next week. Not important. It happens all the time. One of those habits that I got into, I need to get out of, but I'm going to work on it. So, Red O'Loughlin signing off on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Take care of y'all. Bye now.
In a noisy world, true connection begins with listening. Elevated listening transforms every conversation in just 5 simple steps. Pause and breathe. Set your intention. Listen with curiosity. Reflect back. Agree on one next step. Join the Listening Mentor on Let's Finally Talk with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the Listening Mentor, where we help you find inner peace, one conversation at a time. Streaming every day. Let's Finally Talk TV show with Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, only here on USA, Global TV and Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channels to watch and engage with all our content.
Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now. Listen, babe, now, listen, babe, now.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.